Evening. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. Can I get a motion to approve tonight's agenda? Tom and Henry, any discussion or questions? All in favor? 5-0. Okay, Mr. Poole, Superintendent's report.
Thank you and good evening. Welcome everyone. Well, summer is moving along quickly. Over the summer months, there is a lot of planning and preparation to get ready for the upcoming school year, along with currently running student programming and lots of capital work happening over the summer. So this evening, we have two updates on capital projects on the agenda. I'd like to welcome Mr. Natz from Park East, who will provide an update on summer capital projects, along with Mr. Shupner and Mr. Buzahowski from BBS. I think I saw Ken here from BBS, who will come to share updates on design plans for high school art room and auxiliary gym renovations, along with Mr. Arcuri. I also like to share some great student outcomes that I received last week on AP exams. Congratulations to our students and faculty for these great outcomes. We had, off of last spring's AP exams, 39 AP scholars, 27 scholars with distinction, 17 AP scholars with honors, 15 AP capstone diplomas, and 10 AP seminar and research certificates. So that's a lot of excellent work from our students to help get them ready. And finally, as part of one of our summer programs, I'm really looking forward to it. On Thursday at 11 a.m. right here at the theater here, the Summer Rise Theater program is putting on a adapted version of a Shakespeare play, and it promises really funny, called A Midsummer Night's Prom. So if you came last year to Willy Wonka's, you were not disappointed. Willy Wonka's Chocolate Factory last summer. I'm looking forward to a great show on Thursday. And that concludes my report. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Poole. Okay, next we have our reports and reviews. Park East Construction, Mr. Natz.
Good evening. It's nice to be back. Thank you for that. Is the PowerPoint up on the screen? Do I have to do something?
It's coming.
They're working on it.
Technical difficulties. Please stand by. It's the cold.
Right.
He's coming up behind you. Park East.
We do have the presentation in our backup documentation, and it can be added to the YouTube video link. So if you want to go forward, you might be interrupted in the middle, but go ahead.
Sounds good.
Okay.
All right, so tonight's presentation is the first one for the new construction. It's our July 2022 construction update. Tonight's presentation is going to consist of the following sections: summary of the program, work progress for July, planned work for August, and some photos of work that's about to start or that is currently in process. So the program summary, Prodell Middle School bathroom renovations, we project that at about 50% complete overall. Also at the middle school, you have ceiling and lighting renovations, also projected at 50%. Middle school and Wading River Elementary School, partial roof recoating project, 50% complete to date. High school wrestling building and Wading River Elementary School, partial roof replacements, it's 5%. They just started getting materials ready. Insurance and bonds are finally complete, and they're projected to start over there the first week in August. Outdoor learning environments at Miller Ave, Wading River, middle school and high school. We have them at 15% complete. So starting with the first school, the middle school bathroom renovations, ACL is the GC. They completed their demo, completed removal of all the wet walls. They started their plumbing rough-in, which is 90% complete, and their electrical rough-in, which is also 90% complete. Okay, Prodell Middle School, ceiling lighting upgrades and HVAC modifications. Renew is the general contractor for this project. They completed their demo of the ceiling tiles, grid, duct diffusers, and lights. They started organizing the above ceiling wiring, started installing new ceiling grid system. About 10% of it's up. A lot should be done in the next 2 weeks. They're also working on some additional work scope that was awarded to them at the corridor walls, and they're about 70% complete with that additional work scope.
Just had a quick question. The Prodell Middle School, when you say ceiling grid wiring, is that the existing wiring and cat cable and things that are up above the ceiling, or is that new grid wiring? Or are you talking about the grid wiring to hang the new grid?
I'm talking about the existing wiring that's data wiring, electrical wiring that was just laying on top of the old grid. It was just reorganizing and supporting it and getting it so we can install the new ceiling grid.
Okay, so it's all the old stuff that's up there?
Correct.
And are you guys doing that, or is BBS providing any input as to how, like, you know, how to hang it, how far the suspension points are for it, you know?
They're just tying it up to get it out of the way. It's kind of has its own path at this time, so they're trying to neaten it to the best of its ability. Over the years, it appears it just ran out over the grid, so they're just neatening it up to allow for the new ceiling to go in place.
Okay. It's been my experience, just when you mess with cat cable, you start having data issues later on and being able to communicate. So is the district thinking about just doing a dry run to make sure everything is still working at the end of the work?
At the completion of the grid install, before we begin to white out the areas, the tech team will definitely be testing the as they put the equipment back inside of the classrooms after the summer cleaning. There is always a turn on, tune up, because even breaking down all of the classrooms for the summer cleaning, putting everything back in place for the first day of school, everything is always traditionally tested. So we do have a system
So
to
all the
ensure
Wi-Fi
that it
will be
works.
ready by September and?
Yes.
Okay, great, thank you for that.
Okay, moving over to, well, staying at the middle school, but also included with this project is the Wading River Elementary School, partial roof recoating. Related services is the roofer. They started at the middle school, removing all the roofing materials, about 50% complete over there, patching the new roof areas, cleaning the existing. For the new recoating is about 75% complete. High school, wrestling building and Wading River Elementary School. This is another roof program. This is by Moore Consulting. They're not starting until the first week of August, so we're tracking materials, which are planned to be here next week. These projects are on the smaller side. They're only projected to be less than a week per building, weather pending. So they'll be done well before school gets back in session. Outdoor learning environments, Land Tech and GATS are the two GCs for that. American Rec, L&M, and the irrigation company, they mobilized for installation and set up their construction fence at all the schools. Land Tech mobilized today, GATS mobilized a few days ago. GATS over at Purdell started removal of existing materials for new drainage structures and flat work, and they're about 30% complete. The work plan for August, basically it's just complete and get ready for school in September, but to get in a little more detail, Purdell Middle School, they are, excuse me, installing ceramic tile, ceilings, lights, fixtures, partitions. All that's going to happen over the next 2 weeks. They're ahead of schedule on that project, so there's no fear of not getting that ready for the start of school. Middle school ceiling and lighting by Renew, with the additional corridor work and final cleaning. Again, they're right on schedule, and we have no fears of them being done before the start of school. Purdell Middle School and Wading River partial roof recoatings. They're going to start the abatement at Wading River Elementary School next week, and within 2 weeks, they'll be completed with that building. The high school wrestling building and Wading River Elementary School roof replacements, that's more contracting. They're starting the first week of August at Wading River School. Again, it's going to be less than a week. Once they complete that, they're going to move to the high school, and that project's also less than a week, weather pending. Outdoor learning environments, GATS is to complete the removals and install of the new flatwork areas. Land Tech to complete the removal and installation of their new work and flat areas. We will be waiting for deliveries of the sales canopies at the high schools and the pavilions at the elementary schools and middle school. Those are the components that will be installed after the start of school.
Mr. Nats, quick question on the outdoor learning environments. So when you say the flat work areas, is that concrete? What does that mean? What does flat work mean?
It's concrete.
Okay, thank you. So basically each of the schools will have their concrete, what do you call it, flooring areas poured? Okay, yeah, okay.
Do you have an anticipated timeline for the deliveries
That's
for the remaining work?
That's what I wanted to ask. Yep, agreed. Thank you, Katie. Yeah, that's what I'd like to ask.
Yeah, the pavilions and the sail kites, I think are expected like in December,
Okay.
December.
November, December.
Okay.
So I can confirm those dates, but they were about a 6-month lead time from when the
Okay.
purchase orders were initiated.
So when we, go ahead, Mike. Yeah.
That was the same issue with the outdoor furniture for the high school?
Are we on a delay as well for the high school furniture?
I'll have to double check that. I don't know for sure.
We'd appreciate
I
it. I'd
think,
like-
yeah, I think that was less of a lead time than the other components.
Yeah, Glenn actually gave us the, that November, December,
Yeah.
6-month estimate, but I was curious about,
I'll check the furniture.
thank you.
With regard to the high school, once the outside work's finished, our temporary solution to begin to utilize the spaces is our foldable tablet desks
Okay,
that were used in the auxiliary gym last school year. So it will be additional work on the custodial team, but we do anticipate using those spaces as soon as they are finished.
oh, great. Thank you.
So there won't be cafeteria-style tables, there'll just be desks out there?
It'll be the same way that we did the auxiliary gym, which is using using the foldable chair tablet style, and they could put them together. But the actual furniture for that particular area is not expected to be received until November.
Got it. Mr. Curie, will the area at the high school, the flat work area, be fenced as well in September?
Yes.
Or it will be fenced?
Yes, as it currently, at our meeting on Thursday, as it currently stands, We currently have temporary construction fence up. If the final product is not available for the start of school due to lead time, there will be something in place that isn't this construction fence, but is more aesthetically pleasing than the construction fence in order to begin utilizing that area for the first day of school.
Okay, and then on the other buildings, if the flat work is complete, will the pavilion roofs be in there, or is that also December timing? They're all December?
Last time I had spoke with one of Mr. Schupner's colleagues, we are anticipating an October, November delivery date with an install date soon after. But they're constantly calling the distributor to see if they're able to get them sooner. We will be ready to install them as soon as they are received. So that contract's awarded. It's as quick as we could get them here. But the outdoor spaces at Miller Avenue, Wading River, and the middle school will still be able to be used, even if it doesn't have the pavilion. As opposed to sitting on the grass, they'll be sitting on the Newport concrete. So we still do have the ability to make use of that area.
Quick question, did we run electric to these sites, or no?
We only ran infrastructure. We have piping inside of certain areas for it, but there is no electric that we put inside this spaces.
Okay, thank you.
Since some of the equipment isn't coming in until later in the year, and I guess with the sales, is the plan to not put them up over the winter, right? Or would we be putting them up and,
Yeah, you wouldn't put them up.
We'll
in
definitely
December.
put them up for the initial install to make sure they're functioning as expected.
okay?
And then we will remove them soon after. But
So it'll be seasonal year after year, we'll take them down?
so your question, I
The sales,
actually
the sales
interpreted your
specifically.
question differently. I thought you were asking, are we taking them down? Are we even going to put them up due to the impending winter? No, they will come down traditionally when it comes time to say Veterans Day. Whenever the snow starts, when I take my speed bumps up from plowing, we will take the wind sails,
Okay,
the sunshades, excuse me,
Yep.
the sunshades in.
thank you. Yeah, that's what I figured, okay.
Okay, here's some progress photos, nothing too flashy. These are the roofs, middle school to the left, Wading River Elementary School to the right. As far as where we stand today for the middle school, they're 50% complete with the repairs. There's a silicone-based product that will be applied. All the repairs are in the black area. And there's a white silicone that will be applied to the black gray areas once all the damaged or water infiltrated materials replaced. Over at Wading River Elementary School, you have two contractors over there. Moore Contracting is doing the black roof to the right of that bottom right photo.
Is the, when you guys end up doing Prodell Middle School, is the air handler systems going down when they're spraying the coating, or?
Yes.
Okay, so that's gonna be, and people in the building will know that, right?
Yep. They'll be shut down within the vicinity of the spraying. They'll also be using protection at the edge of the roof, depending upon the wind. And if it is too windy, they're not able to spray, so that there's not migration of the spray. At the middle school, here's some of the interior work done by Renew. Lighting disconnects in the left photo, duct removals in the bottom center photo, and just some floor protection, some demo in that right photo.
Are those linear diffusers in the center there, those ducts?
Yes, that
Are
was
they
the
being
existing,
are they being
they were integral to the lighting system.
Oh, in the grid, are they being put back in?
No,
So what are you guys doing in terms of air diffusion? Okay,
here's the middle school demo of the bathrooms. So all the, concrete was removed. They did the asbestos abatement, and they're gonna start framing back in the wet walls, start roughing in. They have started roughing in the plumbing and electrical. And within a week or so, you'll start seeing finishes go back into these spaces. This is the last slide, just, again, not much to show, but this is showing some of the temp fencing that was set up. Land Tech mobilized today. The top left photo is the middle school, bottom center is Wading River, top right is Miller Ave. Elementary schools are being done by GATS, and they're a little bit further along, but none of them have an issue finishing these projects on time, with the exception of what we spoke about earlier with the wind sails and pavilions. That concludes the report, and any questions or comments?
No, so just after looking at all the progress, do you anticipate any issues at all with any of the other projects that you've got going here? In terms of completion dates, it doesn't sound like it.
No, I think, other than what we mentioned, every contractor is committed to finishing, and some of them will finish early.
Thank you.
You seem to be in good shape.
Thanks.
Thank you.
You said it twice.
Thank you, and have a good night.
Next, we have Mr. Arcuri presenting on the high school art rooms and fitness center design. I don't know if this one is titled May 22 Voter Approved Capital Projects Proposition Update for the slide. Got it? Okay.
Good evening. Just before we start this presentation, I just I wanted to add a small piece of information to the previous presentation. One of the struggles to get some of these projects going related 100% attached to getting the insurance in order before the project started. I had anticipated starting these projects sooner than they actually started, but the process that the team at Park East uses to ensure that bonds and insurance are all in specific order took us a little bit longer because the contractors did not have a policy that was required by our insurance carrier that wasn't specifically called out inside of our bid documents. It's something new. It is an added protection for both the district as well as the contractor, but some of the deadlines that I had originally set, such as the outdoor space at the high school project, was awarded April 17th. They were supposed to mobilize the Monday after graduation, and they're only mobilizing today. So some of these projects are going to finish later than originally planned, of no fault of anyone, with the exception of making certain the district was properly had the necessary documentation to ensure that if something did go wrong, everything was in perfect order. So I just wanted to add to that. We will get ahead of this inside of our next batch of projects. I'm sure you recall the construction management team came in after we had gone out to bid, after some of these projects had been awarded, and they were more aware in these insurance pieces, and I was very happy to have them part of this process. And with their help, with the Ken and his team, we will get the projects done, as Derek said earlier, on time. But it's going to bring us right there to the end, where when staff begin to enter the buildings, we will be buttoning projects up. So I just wanted to add that out there, just so we are all on the same page. Tonight,
Thank you.
I'm happy to kick off a presentation regarding the voter-approved projects from the May 2022 Proposition 2. Tonight, we have Frank Pugliese, high school principal, with us. Mr. Passamonte could not be here tonight, but they both played a key role in the design process. We also have Ken Schubner and David Buzahowski from BBS Architects with us also in order to field any questions that either myself or Frank cannot answer. But I'm going to kick it off, and if anyone has any questions, stop me along the process. May 2022, Proposition 2, renovate 2 high school art classrooms, rooms 116 and 118. Renovate the high school auxiliary gym into a physical health and wellness center. The work will be funded from funds within the tax reduction reserve. Also saying there was no cost, there will be no cost to the taxpayers for these particular projects. Progress to date. Project design meetings have taken place for both projects. Surveys of SWR physical education staff and coaching staff on anticipated use of the new wellness center space has taken place. The participants of the design meetings included Board of Education capital project liaisons, central office administration, high school administration, director of physical education, health and athletics, art and physical education teachers, and coaches. It's important to note that multiple versions of the renderings have been prepared by the design team at BBS, and this evening we will show the final plan and a couple of preliminary layouts that we had looked at. The final casework, the final equipment, the final finishes depicted inside the renderings, when the final product's here, they could definitely vary slightly. Will they vary by a total reconfiguration of the space? No, but the rendering is not meant to be a depiction of exactly what will be inside of the space, just the anticipated layout with the anticipated furniture that we have come up with to date. Original classroom, a picture of the original classroom to the building. So they are original to the building, high school art classroom 116. And you could definitely see these were the same pictures presented during the budget presentations inside of the spring. Here's a rendering of the new space.
Glenn, I know you said you noted the fine print. I noticed in the original there was an overhead projector. Is that still going to be needed in the new one as well? In the new space?
From what I recall, they are going to make utilization of the portable smartboards here. They
Okay.
believe they are much more functional
Right.
than the stationary one.
Okay. So you don't have to put all that infrastructure in above the ceiling, which is
Correct.
Right, good. All right.
And you can just clearly see they're going to be very similar to when we did our science labs, when the Academic Success Center. They're definitely state-of-the-art representatives of BBS, central office, high school leadership, art teachers. Everyone was involved in this process. As you had mentioned, the previous presentation had different renderings for these art spaces in it. So they continually have been improved upon to make certain that all of the classes scheduled for these spaces are able to have the necessary casework, have the necessary space in order to run each specific class. Art classroom 118. As I'm sure you would agree, definitely need a renovation. Just it's going to be a really open, new, innovative space. This is in plan view. Interior spaces show a shared space for the instructional team in these spaces. It shows a space for a prep area. It shows a space for a kiln room. And I had reached out The only classroom that you could help me out with this one? Thank you.
There's a
Appreciate it.
kiln room in there?
That's the middle one.
Right.
Well, sorry. Yeah, please. There you
Okay.
go. Thanks, Frank.
No, thank you, Glenn. So yes, on this rendering, the kiln is in the center space to the top of the screen. Immediately adjacent to the right is a room that has a sink and additional prep cabinets. That will be where all of the ceramic materials are stored and cleaned. To the left side of the kiln, that is viewed as a potential mini media type center where there'll be some computers, some additional printers, and then the space that runs parallel to that along the bottom, that would be the teacher prep space. That's where the teachers would have their desks. Those, you guys are definitely familiar with the entry into this space. The redesign there would incorporate along that outside wall. Those are actually the cabinet fronts that were on the cabinets in the original classrooms to be able to preserve those and to display them. And then I believe if it's still a part of the plan, immediately across from that is a recessed cabinet, which will have glass and lighting where student artwork can be presented and have a very nice entry into that space.
Where are the existing kilns for the building?
The existing kiln, if you were actually to lay it out right now, is pretty close to where it is right now. It's a little bit to the right, it's right where Glenn's got the,
So in the same space?
yeah, very, very close.
What's the approximate size of the media room?
That I don't know off the top of my head. About 8 by 10, 10 by 10.
So was a single entrance to both rooms? Is that what that kind of like?
Yes, so
passageway?
when you come down those stairs right there, if you follow Glenn's cursor, then you enter right there, and then you'd go to the left to go into 118 or 116, and go to the right to go into 118.
And
So
are there sinks in both large group spaces?
There's two.
yes, yep,
There are?
along the perimeter.
Okay,
Yep.
thank you.
You're welcome. To the right-hand side in 118, if you want to go where the pottery wheels are, Glenn, that's the station for the pottery wheels. Again, immediately adjacent to where the where the supplies would be. Yep. To the left, yeah, coming down vertically. Yep. And up a little bit to the right. There you go. Those are right there.
What's the anticipated schedule for these projects next summer?
The anticipated timeline, I'm gonna get to shortly.
Are these two projects, are they going to be under one contract, or are they separate contracts?
We're gonna bid them out.
Bid them
one.
together?
For the art classrooms, yes.
Art and the wellness center.
I'm not sure. For the art spaces, they will definitely be. a
Obviously,
single-
these two would be together, but you're not sure if you're going to put the.
I don't have the
Okay.
answer yet. I
Okay.
will speak with Ken offline, come up with the best plan. Sometimes we do them as one big project. Sometimes they'll be done as two separate ones and see what the best deal is. I didn't get that far yet.
Okay. These look great.
Moving on, let me back up a quick step. So one of the questions tonight is, does the Board of Education support the renderings as they're presented? Once that final blessing is given tonight, we will then, BBS will start their drawings in order for their submission process.
Yeah, it looks great.
You
As-
guys have
Yeah, they're
anything
beautiful.
wanna add?
Sounds like you had a good participation with the art teachers and staff with the high school, right? Mr. Plazy was involved. So,
I mean, Frank could definitely speak to it a little bit better than I can, but the process of getting here.
Certainly. I could certainly talk to the impact of the teachers within the department. They played a very key role in actually providing, what was basically some of the initial design layout, which then BBS used, and they took it the rest of the way. But certainly the ideas and the wants and the needs expressed by the department are certainly reflective in the designs that have been provided. They have been a part of the process, right from the very start.
very active part of the process, as they were really speaking, not only for themselves as the instructors, but for their students as well. So they definitely played a major part of the process.
I like that the fact that you're incorporating the existing cabinetry into it, so it's like a nice homage to
Yeah,
past-
we had
past
played
students.
around with that idea in several different ways. I think one kind of permutation was maybe to kind of mount them, as a ceiling tile type situation. But I think the idea of putting them out there in that hallway, and preserving them is really something special, because there really is some great work there, and it's been there a long time.
Great, fully supportive. I think it's great.
Moving on to renovation of the auxiliary gym to a physical health and wellness center. Again, after numerous design meetings, consultations with staff, review of survey results, meetings with the design team of BBS architects, central office admin, and the Board of Education capital projects liaisons, a final plan was developed on July 7th. The final plan does not include a retractable partition wall, as was discussed during the budget presentations when Proposition 2 was being presented. After, again, as with any type of capital project, we start a process. I was asked multiple times during the budget presentations for capital Proposition 2, is this the final? No, it's never meant to be the final. It is at that time when we are looking to request support for the funding. We have our best guess there. We don't put our full effort forward to actually design the space at that minuscule detail until funding is actually there. In this particular instance, we were looking at a retractable partition, but after digging in deeper and going into the detailed use of each space, both with Mr. Pugliese as well as Mr. Passamonte, those two know the best utilization for this space. And after many hours of back and forth, we did come up with having one large dedicated space without a retractable partition will result in a better overall design and ultimately will be more functional. By not including the retractable partition, we do anticipate realizing a cost savings also. Again, some existing pictures. This was one of the options for a layout. This was another option for the layout. The partition wall is depicted here. This is another option. But the final consideration came down to one large open space, allowing us to have equipment on both the north and south sides. You have equipment here, you have equipment here, you have equipment here. For those of you, there is doorways coming from the hallways here, and there's a doorway to the gym in this section here. There's a little storage closet here.
I think these look fabulous. I just want to thank, the entire admin team, BBS, and Henry and Mike, who are liaisons for the board. A lot of hours represented, a lot of thoughtfulness represented, and I think that the arrival at the solution without the wall is ideal. I think that that's going to maximize the usefulness for the space and enable the fitness center to really be state of the art rather than kind of trying to be two smaller things.
Mr. Arcuri, on the final layout that we're looking at there.
Yep.
So where the SWR logo Wildcat is that what wall is that today? Is that
That wall today, well, there's one on either end. That's going to be the east and west walls. So the one you're looking at there is going to be similar to where the front vestibule door is. So if you're coming down the hallway, you're walking into the main gymnasium doors. There's a little vestibule or alcove there. That would be on your left. So let me back up to, maybe this one will be a better one. Hold on. If we look at this space here, Tom,
Yes.
you have This wall is going to be facing the girls' field, hockey field.
Okay,
This wall is going to be facing the North Shore Public Library.
that's helpful. Mr. Curry, when the design was being laid out and the final layout chosen, how many students, because I see yoga mats in one of the renditions on the
Yep.
floor, how many students were anticipated to be in a gym class at the same time? That's
Good
what I'm
news
just-
is I have someone here that's much better qualified to answer that.
Thank you. Yeah, no, I just curious.
Sure. In this design here, we are fully anticipating being able to cover what we would need for our wellness strand within phys ed. Generally, those sections run about 24 to 26 kids per section, so we're confident that we'd be able to make that work.
Very good. And then ultimately, when I think about the equipment on the outside, the exterior, if we have some savings from the walls, are we reallocating some dollars then toward purchasing equipment to fulfill the outsides?
We can. There are two different options. One of the preferred options that we're currently considering is possibly a lease option, so that will ensure
Okay, the
after a
equipment
certain
redoes, yeah.
number of years,
Yep.
equipment is cycled out. If that's the path that we go, no, we cannot take advantage of capital dollars because
Oh, of
it
course not.
doesn't carry over into multiple budget years. In the
So if you buy it and use the capital, you can use them to buy it.
To a degree. There's only a certain portion of the equipment that we're able to do. Traditionally, we're going to outfit this space with the equipment in the 23-24 budget is where we have to set money aside. Because this work is anticipated to be finished September 1st, 2023. In order we vote on the budget in May, we then will have the dollars in there to outfit the space with those equipment dollars. Now, again, the preferred method would definitely be to lease the equipment so that we're certain we cycle out outdated.
Yeah.
There's service contracts. That's the plan, but the dollars realized by not doing the retractable partition, there's no certainty that I'm able to do them for here. However, I could redirect that funding to the monitor bar that is in place there that was not originally part of the scope.
What is a monitor bar? I'm not
The
familiar.
yellow, there's probably a much better word than a monitor bar, but a truss.
Oh, where TVs hang down?
Like
Okay, got
right
it.
there, yep.
Got it. Monitor, I didn't know what that meant. Monitor.
Suspended trust.
What is that?
Just a few questions. One, I want to thank you guys for allowing us to provide input at the meeting. It was a great meeting, and I always appreciate your willingness to take my opinions for what they're worth. I think this looks great. Only a few questions I have is the padding around the perimeter of the room. Is that a necessity or that's a nice to have? Just curious, because I know you guys. I did some research and I provided some documents at the meeting of fitness centers around the county. I'm just curious if it's going back because that's what's there, or if it's actually needed to provide a safe
I could-
fitness environment.
Turn to these two gentlemen. Is
Right.
it needed? For the original plan, having the equipment half, we did plan on having it. Maybe with this particular layout, it isn't fully needed.
Okay.
Yeah, I think at a minimum, Mike, I'd probably still keep it on the end walls since we've got the ladder and the yardage markers there.
Yeah.
So at a minimum, probably just
For any type of overrun,
sprinting
yeah.
that's happening there. I'd definitely keep them there. Yes, they kind of ended up in the rendering because they already exist.
I know they're expensive and they're somewhat of a cost to maintain, and then you worry about kids scratching them. And if
Yeah,
it's
what I
not
think-
needed,
Yeah, what I think we should try to evaluate first is the condition of the
Wall
wall
behind
behind
it.
Sometimes when they know that products like that are being applied, they might not joint the block. It might be less finished in that case. So we can evaluate.
yeah, I would think throwing out the wall with some type of hard construction, it might be even cheaper than putting the mat back, even if the wall's in bad condition.
Could
So,
be, but we
yeah.
can continue that thought process.
Yeah, I think
that's great.
the markings on the floor that's awesome. I'm excited to
looks
see
awesome.
that.
Awesome.
Is
The-
it, oh, sorry, you
okay.
had a couple questions.
Yeah, the ductwork, are those, again, I love the exposed ceiling, having the darker paint up there is great. There's 2 units, and they're not connected, right?
No.
Okay, because it just looks like it's one continuous duct, but there's two pieces of duct, kind of
Yeah,
separate.
I mean, right now it's a single duct represented. There'll still be 2 units
Okay,
kind of feeding the entire space. Even for the look of that ductwork, we may put a wall in it so that they're obviously not competing against each other, but they're feeding individually
Right,
from
okay.
each end.
I got you.
Yeah.
And that's heat and air, right?
Yes.
Heating and cooling, yes.
The truss with the TVs is again, it's a great touch. I'm just curious, and I know we haven't worked out all the details to that, but I'm just curious on what gets projected up there, who controls it, who maintains it. Will going to, gyms in the past, you can kind of sync your headphones to a TV to listen to watch it. Again, I know we're not there yet, but I'm just curious on how we're going to try and work out those details. But yeah, I'm really excited to see this. And you're talking about leasing the equipment. I think one of the advantages with leasing is you're on that cycle to always get the most up-to-date equipment, where if you purchase it, then the maintenance is on us, the replacement's on us. And but overall, very excited, and I'm happy it's going to look like this. So thank you guys.
Yeah, and again, it's sort of a simple reflection of what that equipment could be. We talked about, there's opportunities to brand the equipment with, district colors, district logos, things like that. So
Yeah.
again, those are things that we can continue to work with the district on. For now, we just represented something simple for these images.
How quickly do we have to go out one to SED, two to secure the materials? I know we're hearing delays with the supply chain, and you really can't use this space without the equipment inside of it. So are we looking for like a January, April, January up to SED, April bid? You have a schedule there. All right.
Timeline
Beat you to it.
included
Sorry.
inside the presentation.
Before you go to that timeline, I
sorry.
just had a couple of questions on the rendering, just so you don't have to go back. I did notice there were a couple of skylights there shown. Are those existing?
They are.
Those are actually there. Okay, I didn't know if those were exhaust fans that you had up there. Okay. And then we had discussed potentially utilizing the space up on the roof for access for service of the unit. So instead of suspending them from underneath, is that just too much work to kind of, because right now any service work that needs to be done on those units probably requires a lift, right?
On the roof.
The rooftop unit. They
The
are
new
rooftop.
units will be
The new units will be rooftop mounted. Okay, perfect, great. That was it. Thank you. And this looks great. Thank you so much for your time with that.
Appreciate all of your input.
Before the timeline question, one more question just related to the padding. Are we intending to use this space for large group instruction for testing?
Not as it's currently designed.
Okay.
There is not a need. A lot of that initial time when I was standing here saying that when it was partitioned to have one of the sides open in order to utilize testing,
Right.
there was a COVID mindset inside of my own mind, and breaking out of that, have every available space available in case we should use it. After a thorough analysis done by high school administration, it's definitely, they're able to meet any of the testing requirements without that actual need.
Okay, and that was part of what contributed to the deterioration of the mats, I believe.
Yes.
Yeah, with the desks right up against pencil holes and such. Okay. Yeah, it would definitely be interesting to see what the materials cost out to be, in terms of mats or just walls.
And I'm sorry, one more question on the lighting. In terms of the luminaires that you're using, are those photo adjustable for light level depending on ambient contribution from the skylights, or are we just looking at LEDs on or off on a schedule? Just your thoughts on, I don't know how much skylight there really is, whether it's going to impact it or not.
Yeah, I
but-
don't think that
It's not a lot.
probably adequate for enough
dimmable,
daylight
yeah.
illumination. So,
Daylight harvesting or anything like that? No?
No, so
Not like the new
they'll be
Walmarts.
all new
Yeah.
pendant
Unless we
LED
put more
fixtures.
skylights in. Glenn. You like making more holes in your roof? Okay.
But yeah, we can put the LEDs on a dimmer so
Yeah,
that
okay.
so that all that's adjustable.
Okay. Thank you.
So moving on to the timeline, once final approval on the renderings is received by the Board of Ed, BBS Architects will begin developing the plans. It is anticipated that the plans will be completed on or about the middle of October, assuming they get the green light tonight. The completed plans will be submitted to SED on or about the middle of October. We will call up for an expedited review. It's anticipated that SED approval will be received on or about the end of January. Assuming receiving SED approval, upon receiving SED approval, the projects will be put out to bid in early February. It's anticipated that the bid award will take place at the March 28th Board of Education meeting, and it is anticipated the work will be completed by September 1st, 2023. With regards to getting out in front of ordering the fitness center equipment for this space, we're not going to be able to do that without having designated funds in the 22-23 budget. We will be ready to award any type of a lease, assuming that is a path that we go at the board meeting on the budget vote in May of 2023. That's the soonest, unless if we are able to identify funding in the 22-23 budget to cover the lease cost for that equipment, assuming that is the path. I know Mr. Passamonte, as I mentioned earlier, had a previous commitment, is unable to be here tonight, but he has been working with a supplier. Ideally, when it would come to this lease, we would, depending upon the value of it, we might even go out to bid for this particular lease or see if there's something on a BOCES contract for it. Having never leased fitness center equipment before, leasing Chromebooks, BOCES has a fantastic program. I will definitely need a little bit more time to do that research.
That
But
would be great, Mr. Curry. I'm assuming, I wonder if in the state of New York, you know, the piggyback contracts that
yes.
you tie to, I wonder if there's something like that for athletic
Well,
equipment?
that's a purchase. The lease, I will have to do more research. I do know there are cooperatives out there, but we will definitely be exploring that in earnest once we got the space final July 7th. They finished the plans. They gave them to me on Wednesday or Thursday last a week. They're here this evening. And then we will begin the next chapter. The voters gave us approval for the funds May of 2022. So we're making very, very quick progress in order to get the project up to the State Education Department. The most important thing, I feel, get out to bid so that we could award the bid as soon as possible so that we know whatever's needed to complete this project, whether it's the rooftop units, they take additional time too. So the sooner that we're able to get that bid awarded so that we know at least the space is finished. Yes, the space is not as good if I don't have the equipment, but if the equipment happens to be delayed until October 1st, but the space is finished, it's definitely a great thing. So we're doing our things in the best timeline that we're able to work under.
Well, I think we certainly appreciate it. I think you could sense the excitement on the stage to see these two, the art classrooms and obviously the auxiliary gym being renovated. And I think all of us would feel that having it in place in 23 would be tremendous. So I think that's why
It's going to
we're
be here
kind
in
of,
23.
Excuse me?
It's going to be finished for 23. Exactly when
careful,
the
you're on
casework
record
shows
now.
up. When the casework shows up is all going to be.
well, I think it's great, Glenn. And I think that ultimately, I think what we're asking is to have it complete, all the other
Absolutely.
components to it, so that when students go in on day one, it's got all the bells and whistles that you anticipated. So we're
gonna do our
excited. I
best.
think if you're asking us, me personally, is final approval tonight, is this I don't see this as a resolution, it's just
No, it's not a resolution.
so it's just a yes or no? Okay.
Yeah, just a consensus to,
Okay.
with like a green light to go forward on the.
Yeah, the spaces are
renderings.
beautiful. It's very exciting.
Yeah, no.
Again,
Thank
we
you.
are still going to tweak the padding. It's like more for the overall. Tweaking those little pieces is not what we're gonna
No, right,
finalize
I
that.
get it.
It's like more so they could begin that hardcore,
Go.
endless hours of drawing and designing.
So it's BBS getting this done in September to move everything up a month? Is that what I just heard? I knew Ken would chuckle at that one.
It's
And-
in their best interest too, to get it done as soon
I
as
know, I'm just
possible, so
sorry,
that we're
forgive
all
me.
not sweating next summer.
Forgive me, I know a lot of hard work's been put into this. I'm just, obviously, I think the
Glenn-
kids will be excited. Students would definitely be excited about these spaces. Henry,
Sorry.
go ahead, no, I'm
Oh,
done.
okay. I just had another question. The occupancy of the space is going to vary quite a bit, right, throughout the day? I'm imagining?
Each type
I'm
of art
sorry, of the
class
gym.
has a,
The gymnasium, yeah,
gym. Yes.
okay. And so are we looking at long-term, we know where the price of fuel is now. Are we looking at, more sophisticated controls in terms of CO2 control to monitor occupancy of space and how much we're heating and cooling the space? Because now we're heating and cooling, right? So is that something we can look into and just, instead of having the thing operate, all the time at full load?
Makes sense. And we've done things like that similar to spaces
In
like
here
this.
and things like that, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay,
It's always
great.
cold in here.
Yeah.
It's working well.
Thank you. And yeah, great job. I just want to reiterate what everyone else said
One of the
it
things I
took a
just
team
really
to
wanna
get
say-
here, and it's great, that everybody had the input.
It's definitely has been a great experience to really design something like this, from Mr. Poole's involvement all the way from everyone in central office, everyone inside the high school, the staff, the architect team, the capital, yourself, Mr. Lewis, as Board of Education capital liaisons. It just shows that we're able to really continually improve upon our design process in order to make phenomenal instructional spaces. It's just, we continue to make everything bigger, better, and a more student attractive while staying within allowable budget constraints. So I'm pretty excited about it also. But thank you to all that was involved, because it does not take one person to put something like these together.
Need to
Thank
make
you.
sure we have a couple rowers in there too.
What was that?
A couple, like, their equipment looks amazing. I
Yeah.
remember us looking
Oh,
at,
rowers.
a couple years ago, mostly treadmills and bikes and stuff, but it's nice to see the cages and the free weights and the tension. We just need to give a full use for weight training and resistance training. I love that we have this entire space available to be creative.
What's
Great.
what's the protocol on the remote controls for the TV? Have you figured that one out yet? Who holds it? It's going to be in Frank's office. What's that? Did you? Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Very
I
much.
was probably
Appreciate
reading
it.
the other thing.
Thank you.
Next, we have Mr. Meinster with the summer programming update.
Good evening, everybody. As we wait for the presentation to come up, just want to thank everybody for the opportunity to share with you this evening all of the wonderful and diverse programs that we have going on this summer. There is quite a bit of action going on. While we may not be in the regular school year, we have many of our students that are still coming to school over the summer for enrichment, for remediation. We've really been able to capitalize on a lot of the available funding streams that we have to provide these opportunities, and I'm looking forward to sharing these with you. So we'll get right into it here. We have all of the programs that are up on the screen right now going on at various points during the summer. I put them up here in the order in which they start. So we have our BOCES we host BOCES for the extended school year. These are 12-month special education students for their program here, of which 51 students of ours are involved in this program. That's a K-12 program. It started back on July 5th, and it will continue until August 12th. We also have our own summer music program that is done through our community programs process. That also started on July 5th. There are 66 students currently enrolled in that program. As we go through the presentation, I have some pictures from these different programs to share. You can see how the students are being engaged in each of these programs and the opportunities that they get. That program runs until August 5th. Then we have our high school Rise Theater program that Mr. Poole mentioned earlier in his superintendent's report. Those students have been very, very busy this month. They started back on July 6th, and that culminates this Thursday on the 29th. We have 27 students that are involved in that program, with them putting on a take on Shakespeare's Midsummer Night's Prom. So everybody's looking forward to that on Thursday.
Do you have that time again, by the way?
11 in the morning.
11
And it is
a.m.?
right
Okay.
here in this very facility.
And anyone in the community is welcome to
It
come?
should be, yes,
Okay.
it is open, and please,
Okay, great.
you know, the kids have done an amazing job. It's going to be a fantastic presentation. Then we move on to our special education support and enrichment program. This is one of the programs that has, along with the high school Rise Theater program, been incorporated into our program last year and now this year as part of the funding that we got through the CARES Act to support our students and keep them engaged in school and help them be remain connected to school throughout the school year so that they're prepared throughout. And so this is for our 10-month special education students. They get support through academic programs in math and in reading, but they also get academic enrichment. We have a extensive art program going on for those students as well this summer, and that started back on July 11th, continues until August 5th. We have 42 of our students enrolled in that program. Our Round Out program continues to run as it has for many years. That program started back on July 11th, continues until August 12th, and we have 153 students engaged in that program. The Early Start program is for our incoming kindergarten students. This gives students that we've identified as benefiting from some interaction prior to the start of kindergarten to get adjusted and adapted to the school routine. That program takes place over at the Miller Avenue building. We have 13 students that are enrolled in that program. That program started back on July 18th and continues until August 12th. Then we have the remaining two, which are upcoming programs, have not started yet. Our elementary at-risk support program, that is an opportunity for students that can benefit from some, for a running start going into rising grade 1 through 6 in reading and in math. There are currently 57 students that are enrolled to come to the reading support program and 61 students that are enrolled at this point in time for the math enrichment across rising grade 1 through 6. Registration is still open for that program, so if there certainly is anybody that, that was identified as a student, that opportunity still exists. Mr. Impellizzeri, who is the coordinator of that program, will be continuing to reach out to those students that we've identified as at risk and who could benefit from this program. We are looking forward to that program, which will start on August 8th, and that program continues until August 25th. Then we have our high school AP week that we have been offering for the last several years. That provides our students that are coming into the AP programs across the high school the opportunity to get a little bit of interaction for the 1 week prior to the start of school, going through some of the foundational content, making sure, just basically brushing up on the information and the work that would be needed to get going with the AP courses that they are currently enrolled in for the 22-23 school year. We have 71 students enrolled at this point in time. That enrollment is also still open for students that are interested and that are enrolled or registered for those courses for that week that will be taking place at the high school.
So just for parents, myself included, the AP week, you're not automatically enrolled in it when you're in an AP course. You have to, where do we go to enroll?
So all of those students should have been contacted already about that, and Mr. Pugliese, who is right here, can certainly speak to that.
Sure. Yes, a message was sent out via the A-Wing office, Mr. Holonia's office. So any questions regarding AP Summer Week, if there is anything, should absolutely go through him, and they'll be able to get back to him right away.
I got a mom, you need to sign me up, but that, I have to follow up on that. So I figured if there's other parents in my boat.
Sure.
Okay.
A-wing office, and they'll be able to
Okay.
turn that right around for you.
All right, great. And then, Mr. Meinster, regarding the round out program, I just had a question. Last couple of years, were different. How are our numbers in terms of enrollment? I forget, in terms of last couple, when we had a normal program run.
I will have to get back to you with those numbers, but that's easy enough. I will send those out to you. I'll do a comparison over the last 5 years so that we can take a look and see. I'll give you the numbers that go pre-pandemic to see what that was like, and also,
Thanks. I'm
what
just
they got.
curious. I mean, it's just totaling it up real quick. We have 541 attendees. I know there's some overlap here, but, at least in terms of offerings to our students, it's touching over a quarter of our student population. It's really incredible. I don't know that this is something that most districts offer, and the quality of the program too is really, really appreciate it, all the work that's been done.
Yeah, this is something that we know, and from the interactions and an anecdotal feedback so far from the teachers and the people involved in these programs has really been having a big impact and helping our students stay connected to school, keeping them socially active, and not only academically active. And actually, toward that end, I have some.
Actually, Mr. Meinzer, I have
go
one
ahead.
quick question. Sorry to bother you.
Sure, no.
If you go back to that slide.
Yep.
So on the elementary at-risk support, looks like you're getting a good participation. I know it's not till August 8th that it rolls out. Is there a number that you had in mind for the program, in other words, or is it just elective children?
We invite every student that has an AIS in reading or math, K-5. We invite all of our special education students to join. And we also do reach out to some of our students that we've identified as at risk who may not be in an AIS program just yet, but who are receiving progress monitoring, and where the elementary principals have identified and said, these are students that could benefit from some support in reading and math prior to the start of the school year.
I think that's tremendous. As part of my role on the curriculum committee, I know that you track student performance. I'd be curious, I know that this program is an elective that we're providing through grants. It'd be interesting to see how students perform this year in school by attending these summer programs. I don't know if you even think about tracking them, but it'd be great if you could just indicate with an asterisk or something that we know they participated. Just when we think about future funding and future programs for the school, it'd be interesting to see if this is valuable or not. That's all. Thank you.
Absolutely. And yes, we will definitely keep an eye on seeing who these students were and how that translates into their performance as they move into the 22-23 school year. Just a note on the elementary at-risk support program. That program actually is one that we had in place prior to, and so that one's actually funded internally as something that we put in place prior to the pandemic
Okay,
grant
gotcha.
funding.
I didn't know if it was pandemic funds. Thank you.
I don't believe our student volunteers are reflected in the round out numbers. They aren't, right?
I believe, again, I asked for the students that are in the program, not the students that are running the program.
It's
So the
just
count I have should be
a phenomenal opportunity for them as well.
It should be the campers, as it were.
Yes,
to
that's what
round
I'm
out.
thinking it is. But
Yes.
just for our older students, I think it's an incredible opportunity for them.
And that's a good point, and that's not included and reflected in these numbers, that we have students that are serving in the role of the counselors in that program.
Yeah, it's incredible.
So some pictures that we've been able to take. We went around to all of the different programs, kind of give you a little bit of the programs in action, as it were. So here are students working at the in our extended school year program. Again, that program is over at Miller Avenue. Here's our summer music program, and again, the students both work on rehearsing musical pieces, but they also do performances. Those performances, by the way, will be also on this stage at the beginning of August. So they have been diligently working behind the scenes, getting their performances ready. And they also put on a show at the end of their run at the end of the first week in August.
You know what I like about that picture is that room, that's the high school room, right? And we
It is.
just finished redoing the floors last year and doing the wall. So it's like those capital projects don't just serve the high school kids while they're here. It's in the summer program. You're seeing, great use of those spaces. So
Yep,
that's
that
great.
is our band room at use 12 months a year.
Right.
Um, This one didn't, oh, there it goes. So this is our special education support and enrichment program. Again, this is where the students are focusing on some remedial work in both reading and in math, but also getting the opportunity to practice their skills in art. So, this is a program that kind of focuses both on remediation, but also enrichment for our students. And as we mentioned before, here are our students in our round-out groups, a whole bunch of the different camp groups here. Busy working around the high school here this year because we have the Wading River School and the middle school both having work done. We have had to relocate some of these programs from where they might normally be, and the kids are absolutely enjoying having the opportunity to be in spaces that they might not normally otherwise be in. So you have all of our younger students here in this program. They're up at the high school and they are having an absolute blast being in a building that they're not typically able to have the opportunity to kind of wander around, especially when that building is as open as it is right now, with regular classes obviously not in session.
Some of these students are getting a full tour of the district.
Oh, yeah, there's no question. We've been able to really take advantage of that this year. Our early start program, this one is over at Miller Avenue. Again, the point of this program is to get our youngest students coming into kindergarten this fall an opportunity to kind of hit the ground running. And so this is in one of our kindergarten classrooms over at Miller Avenue, because the whole point of the program is acclimation to the school environment and structure. And so you can see them all working in their stations here with the teacher, doing all kinds of activities associated with the kinds of routines and structures that you would be expecting students to be proficient at as they move into kindergarten.
This year, did we invite 18 as usual, and then 13
That is
responded?
correct.
Okay.
That is exactly right. And then finally, just summarizing this, it's a combination of available grant funding, district allocated funds. We have made this so that when we try, and this is done intentionally, we worked really hard to make sure that we provided opportunities for our students across all grade levels in all buildings to have an opportunity to be able to support and or expand their learning throughout the summer break. So everybody from our incoming kindergartners to our upcoming graduating senior class are all here at some point in the summer with an opportunity to learn. And again, just gives our kids the best chance possible to start the new year as ready as possible to be successful. And that's our summer summary.
Thank you.
Good, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, up next we have votes and resolutions. Can I get a motion to approve May 31st agenda public session meeting minutes? Megan, Tom, any questions?
Nope.
All in favor? 5-0. Can I get a motion to approve the CPSC, CSC, and 504 meeting summary from June 14th? Tom, second Henry. Any questions?
No.
All in favor? 5-0. Can I get a motion to approve the June treasurer report? Tom, second Mike. Any questions?
Nope.
All in favor? 5-0. We have 3 curriculum and instruction resolutions. Is it okay to take these as a block?
Mhm.
Okay, can I get a motion to approve 22, 23, 29 through 31? Tom, second. Megan, any discussion or questions?
Mm-mm.
All in favor? 5-0. There's one HR resolution. Can I get a motion to approve 32? Tom, second. Megan, any discussion or questions?
No.
All in favor? 5-0. We have 2 business operations resolution. Can we take these together?
Mm-hmm.
Can I get a motion to approve 33 and 34? Mike, second. Henry, any discussion or questions?
Nope.
All in favor? 5-0. Can I get a motion to approve the personnel agenda? Mike, second. Tom, any discussion or questions?
No.
All in favor? 5-0. I noticed we have a couple people in the audience. Excuse us for staring earlier. These lights are very blinding and beautiful new lights, by the way, but I believe we have our new, there were 2 vacancies, a couple of vacancies, and we have a couple of people. If you don't want to stand, if you're brand new to our district, just want to welcome you. Thank you.
That is Cassandra Nitty.
So we
She's
have, this is, I believe, Cassandra Nitty. who will be replacing Kathy Lang as our, I don't want to get the title wrong, the network, no,
Coordinator of District Data Systems and Security.
thank you, okay.
Say that 3 times fast.
Exactly. So welcome to Shoreham-Wading River. We look forward to working with you, and thank you for being here this evening. Can I get a motion to, do we have, Brian, do we have any comments from residents or? No? Okay. Can I get a motion to adjourn public and go into executive session for the medical, financial, credit, or employment history of a particular person or corporation or matters leading to the appointment, employment, promotion, demotion, discipline, suspension, dismissal, or removal of a particular person or corporation? Can I get a motion to adjourn? Megan, Tom, all in favor? 5-0.